this week's episode of Hidden People, my guest is Anush Babajanyan. And we met you, Anush, just about 2 months ago when you were taking part in another project. You are a photographer. It was a joint Armenian-Turkish initiative called Beyond Waiting, Stories from the Armenia-Turkey Border, where you were paired up with a Turkish colleague and you did photos, and it was a multimedia exhibition. So now we're back again, and we want to interview you to find out who Anush is, what inspires you and what motivates you. You were born and raised in Yerevan.
Yes.
And did you always know that you wanted to be a photographer?
Oh no, that came up much later in my university years. When I was a child, I had some ideas about journalism, some desires to do something like that, but there was nothing exact. And in my university, I studied journalism and mass communications. And in the last year of the university, I took some photojournalism classes. So that's how it began.
So it began like that. Photography, photojournalism it's a difficult profession. People think everybody wants to take photos and they think they're really good at it. How has that journey been for you? You know, you've been involved in many projects. So one of the most well-known is the Gyumri dohmiks project. And just for our viewers, can you explain to us when we say dohmiks, what does that mean? And put it in the context for us, if you could.
Well, a dohmik is a temporary house. Dohmiks are the houses that were provided to the people in Gyumri after the 1988 earthquake by the Soviet government. And these little houses were provided for 2 years only, but the people
they're really like containers. I mean, they're not even structures
really
with sewage system or running water.
They're just like wagons.
Yeah.
You know?
Literally wagons.
Yes, a lot of them were. And
so you decided to take, because also important to note that 25 years on, there are still people, families, who are still living in those dohmiks. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. And actually this year is the 25th anniversary of, well, anniversary is not a
commemoration,
the word for that. Marks the 25th year of the earthquake. Yes, there are a lot of people, and only part of them has been provided. Apartments in newly built districts in Gyumri. It's like in the suburbs of Gyumri, but also a lot of times people aren't moving away from those houses.
Okay, so you decided to do a photo project which was called the Gyumri dohmiks project in 2010, and in 2012 it was selected as a finalist in the photophilanthropy.org Activist Awards amateur category. And why was it important for you? You weren't from Gyumri. You're quite young. You probably don't remember the earthquake. Why was it important for you to take those photographs?
It was important, first of all, because I got to know these people when I was living in Gyumri. I lived there for a year together with my husband, who's from Gyumri. And so I got to know them and the situation. It was the first thing that seemed important to me. As a person who wanted to begin a photojournalism career at that time. So that's why I decided to do it. And in 2008 and 9, it was only the beginning, and then I continued it in 2010. And I mean, it can always be continued because it's a
never-ending story.
Yes, we were hoping that the story would end because this construction began and everything, but it doesn't really get better, really. Yeah.
Anushjan, you're also involved in many other projects to do with like Sevan, something called Special Structures and Monuments in Armenia, another Gyumri project, Gyumri, and something about women called inlandish. It's very interesting. What do you mean by inlandish?
Inlandish is a project about women, mainly in Yerevan, who dress in a special manner, who like to express themselves externally, to the public, in the way they dress and the way they put their makeup. You might have seen it at the Other Armenia exhibition, which we organized with the 4+ Documentary Photography Center, which I'm part of. And this was a big group exhibition featuring 10 women photographers from Armenia. Yes, so this project was part of it, and it's called Inlandish. Originally there was the word outlandish, and then in was the part which referred to in our country and within these women. So I don't know. I just made up that word.
It's an interesting play on the word inlandish, because I've seen the photos. You pick interesting topics to photograph. Well, how did you find these women? Was it just like as you're walking down the street you see them?
Most of the time, yes.
And they agreed to be photographed?
Sometimes they did, other times they didn't. There are still like 2 or 3 women who I'm kind of in touch with and still trying to, because it's never really easy, yes. For example, one of them, a woman named Sveta, I approached her in 2008, talked to her. She really told me a lot about her life, and I also asked whether I could take a photo. And she said no. She said she used to like when people took photos of her, but then she felt teased, or she felt that people weren't really doing that with a kind heart, so she was doubtful about it, and she really refused it. And only this year, in 2003, which is like 13, sorry, yes. Many years later, I called her again. I found her, actually. I didn't have her number. I found her in Komitas. And we just spoke again, and I reminded her about myself. And once again, I asked if I could take a picture, and she said, yes, of course, no problem. As if nothing had happened before. It seems that probably all the bad memories had left her from any bad occasion. She was in a good mood, so we did.
You caught her at the right time, right?
Yes, yes.
So perseverance is the key word here in being a photographer, to get the right image, to find the right character, to find the right lighting, to do all that. You're a young, aspiring still, I would say, professional. How is the sector, how is photography in Armenia developing? Is it a genre that is finding a voice now? Because we see a lot of young photographers everywhere now.
Yes, it's really, it's okay, I think. I don't know, it's very popular, of course. That everyone knows that photo reporting is more or less popular. I know I see a lot of photo reporters as such, but there aren't many feature photographers, if you know what I mean, documentary photographers, people who do long-term.
Is it because it's not sustainable, because it's not easy to make?
Yes, that's the main reason, because people don't earn money doing that. And that's normal. It's not only in Armenia. Sure. That's the situation all over the world. And this is one field that me and 2 more girls, Nazik Armenagyan and Anahit Hailapetyan, are trying to develop with the 4+ Documentary Photography Center. We've been supported by the Open Society foundations. We're now doing a project with the Women's Resource Center, supported by by a U.S. government grant from the U.S. Embassy. So it's okay. We see that there are people willing to develop this field, particularly human rights photography that assists human rights issues, and also women's photography, which is also part of what we like to develop, because we really know a lot of women, for example, or the women who took part in the Mother Armenia exhibition, who do the future projects that I'm talking about, the long-term projects. And these women don't earn money doing that, you know, but they're just as anybody else, you know, they have to earn their living. And so we're trying to find ways to make these projects and these people more sustainable, you know, to do what they like to do and to be able to earn a living with that.
Sure. Anushjan, are there enough stories in Armenia for you to tell through your photographs?
Yes, Armenia has a lot of stories. For us who are insiders, it may seem a little boring sometimes. It really does, but there really are a lot of stories.
And what are the stories that you would like to be, those stories you want to tell through your photographs? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, there are a lot, and well, I personally have, of course, some ideas, some future plans that I like to approach. I can't talk much about it because these are still future plans, and it would be kind of wrong to uncover the plans
ahead of schedule.
Yes, and, yeah, sure.
You don't want to give us a little sneak preview?
Yes, I think I don't think for sure I will do a project in Gyumri. I had the idea for this project, and I applied for a grant with the Open Society Foundation's documentary photography project, which is a grant for photographers from Armenia, Caucasus, Central Asia. It's a big grant that they have each year. So I won that grant this year, and this is to do a project in Gyumri about women who are labor migrants.
Oh, okay.
I cannot talk too much about it, but that's the idea, because there are a lot of labor migrants who are female, who are from the Shirak region, and it's a really big problem because they're leaving their families.
Right, right. And we don't often talk about the women. When we think of labor migration, we think of the men leaving their families and going to Russia and other places to work. There are also women, not in the same numbers, yeah, but there are also women.
So that's something that I'm very excited about. It's something important, an important step in my life.
That's very good. Anushjan, you know, I really want to thank you for sitting down with us. I see that you have so much passion and so much love for the work that you do, and I hope that we'll be hearing great things about you in the future. We already have. You've already accomplished a lot for a very young photographer still, so we'll be looking out for you, and hopefully we'll catch up with you sometime down in the future, and you can show us some of the photographs that you've taken of all the interesting characters and stories that we have in Armenia. So thank you very much.
Thank you too.